Hi, kids. Guess what I just did? Recorded like 30 minutes of this recap and never turned the microphone on. How did I find that out? Because my light died. And when I went to plug up the portable to charge it and have it on, I noticed that I never turned on the mic. Fuck me. What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your hostess, doing the mostest, Kivanchi, and we are here with the Gilded Age, Season 1, Episode 2, titled Money Isn't Everything. Okay. This is a masterclass on how to be enthusiastic when you make a huge fucking mistake by not turning your microphone on and still coming here with the same energy that you had, even though you just wasted 30 minutes of your entire freaking day, as if you don't have anything else to do. So, I'm so annoyed. I'm so fucking pissed right now. Whew. You know, the first step is to admit it. I was a dumb bitch. All right, that's enough about me. This episode, I am struggling. The perfectionist in me is struggling, y'all. Oh my God, hold on. I need a moment. Okay, so this episode has to be, and will probably forever be, one of my favorite Gilded Age episodes. Y'all already know I do not like toxic masculinity. I don't like it. I just don't believe that you need to be garish and arrogant and nasty in order for people to feel, know, and believe that you are the man. It's like when people be like, oh, I'm an alpha man. Alphas don't have to announce that they are alphas. They come into the room and everybody else just bows down. It's energy, it's confidence, it's everything in you. And, you know, in this episode, y'all know how I feel about George Russell. If you've watched any of my season 3 recap, you already know how I feel about George. But today, I met the George that everybody is in love with all over Twitter. When I tell you, George walked in, pulled out his schlong, and it was actually freaking huge, and he slammed it on the table with a large thwap, because there are things that George Russell does not play about. Himself, his money, his business, and Big Bertha. And what did they do on Bertha's top? Tried to play with her, and he was not having it. And I said, oh my, Senor Russell, I might want you and Bertha to work on this marriage, because, oh my God, it was the sexiest thing. Let's talk, okay, first off, let's just talk about how he was just sexy as hell this whole episode. The way that George regards Bertha when she's doing her big one, when she's stepping into the shoes that he asks her to fill, and enticing people, men and women, to kind of help him with his business, but watching her move within society and do what she does best. He regards her with so much admiration and so much desire. My man looked like he was ready to make a baby this entire episode, which leads me to a tangent that I was thinking about when I was washing my hair. So like, did they just not have sex anymore when they were like, okay, we're not having no more kids? Like, how did this work? Because were there condoms in the 1870s? When were condoms invented? Okay. Earliest known use of condoms date back to ancient Egypt. Linen sheets. Ugh. My bad. My bad. My voice bounced off the ceiling. The dog is looking at me like I'm crazy. In the 18th century, the term condom was first used, and condoms were made from animal intestines. Oh my God, no wonder y'all had syphilis and gonorrhea and everything else. In 1839, Charles Goodyear, like the tire. In 1839, Charles Goodyear invented rubber vulcanization, which led to the production of rubber condoms in 1855. I don't know whether they say you got a rubber, even though it's latex now and non-latex and lamb and all that stuff. These rubber condoms were more durable and affordable than animal-based condoms. Latex condoms, which are the most common type today, were introduced in the 1920s. That is crazy. I can tell y'all right now, the women weren't having no type of orgasms. Women ain't barely having orgasms with these men today. They damn sure wasn't having no damn orgasm with rubber. Well, maybe they were, because sex toys are made of rubber. Silicone? This was not in my previous recording at all. This is all new. This is all new, y'all. I promise you. But yeah, I was just like, wow. Gladys and Larry would have had a younger sibling after all of that. So let's just jump into why I'm talking about all of that. So we just don't forget everything else that I talked about before. Whatever. We'll do it at the end. So Mrs. Morris, who is the wife of the alderman, was throwing a charity, like the bazaar event. So, I don't know if y'all have ever been to bazaars. They still call them bazaars. And it's like a vendor type of situation. And you can go and you can purchase things, but you can name your own price, right? So like basically whatever you're willing to give is what you will like take away from it or whatever. But the vendors can still charge, however much money that they want. So a vending event, right? The ladies ain't got no jobs, so this is all they do. And they were having issues securing an armory for this location. The dinner that George asked his wife to send an invitation for the alderman and Mrs. Morris, because he was trying to get in bed business-wise with the alderman. And he's like, this could be something that can benefit both of us. Bertha's like, I don't think they're gonna come, but okay, sure. And, she does her thing. Now, this also gave us great banter at the dinner table, because the alderman was like, babe, please be on your best behavior. And she said, I can't promise you anything. And when I tell you she didn't promise him a damn thing, she did not. But Bertha was right there, and y'all already know how she is. She reads down. And George was looking at her like, I'm going to eat you when dinner is over, okay? But during this whole situation, Bertha was like, listen, I know you're having trouble getting the armory. Our ballroom is huge. You can use it. And she was like, oh, no, I don't think we're going to do that. So what did she do? Booked some small-ass conference room in a hotel on 5th Avenue. The decor was ugly as shit. And Marion already was like, at the tea party, like, why don't we just go across the street? So she already was like, whatever, I'm just here to sell my napkins, like it is what it is. So everybody's in there. Mrs. Morris thinking that she got like a one-up, a leg up or whatever. And Marion is openly displeased about their location. Aurora is like, Marion, girl, you just got here. Like, you don't even know how the rules work. Like, just relax. And it's really giving Aurora as a pushover, which makes me understand what's happening with her storyline in season 3. I definitely understand why she didn't bake Charles Fane his very last sweet potato pie. Like, I get it. And George walks in with his family. He goes up to Miss Morris and he was like, hey girl, your man here? She's like, no, he had business to tend to. And he's like, damn, that's a shame. Ding, 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 ding. Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. George Russell. This is my wife, Bertha, as y'all all know. It seems as though, in the spirit of being bitches, that y'all denied my wife entry into a space in which we could have accommodated. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm about to buy out all of this shit up in here. This bazaar is not going to be happening for 3 days because I'm paying every single person in here enough money to cover them for if the bazaar lasted a week. And I want all of this shit dismantled, remantled in my house. Okay? Okay. Babe, children, vamonos. And Mrs. Morris is looking at Mrs. Astor like, what do you think this is? Like, this ain't gonna go over how it is. And she goes, I believe the lion has made himself known. There's no more reason for me to be here either, girl. And she walked out, impressed. Marion is like, yes. And I love how Marion is team Russell's, because she just has a fire and a desire to not follow whatever the hell Agnes keep getting on her about. And I love that so much. I'm really excited to see what's happening between now and season 3, which made Bertha not see it for Marion and her son, because it seemed as though they kind of started off on a really good foot, and Marion is a champion of them being dismantlers, being innovators within the society, because that is what she craves. So definitely can't wait to see what happens between then and like between now and then, to the relationship and the acceptance that ultimately Bertha came to have for Marion. But I'm loving Marion's enthusiasm with the approach and everything that's going on. As they get into their carriage and they're driving off, you can literally see like the kids are like, whoa. And George is like, we finna own all of this shit. All of it. This is what it takes. And you get to see a couple who is equally ruthless for one another, equally ambitious for one another and for their family. And you see immediately that their ambition, their ruthlessness, their callousness with everybody else for the betterment of their family is their greatest strength. So definitely excited to see why everybody loves Bertha and George, because they have something that is so solid, that makes season 3 more heartbreaking. Like, now I understand why everybody's like super heartbroken, because this is them. It is their identity as a couple. But again, as this unfolds, y'all already know I've not seen the rest of season 1. I've not seen season 2. I'm willing to bet that George begins to lose his individual identity to the identity of their relationship, while Bertha gains an identity as her name only. She will no longer be Mrs. George Russell. She's going to be Bertha Russell. And I'm willing to bet that there's something, an episode that's going to come up that's going to show where that fracture happens, that leads us to him walking away from her in season 3. So I'm super giddy about that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Other things that happened in this episode, first off, who the fuck is beating up Miss Bauer, yo? Like, this is why I say HBO, home box office Maximilian, give us a side quest episode, a side quest season. I will take a short. I will take an 11-minute short just to see what the fuck is going on with these servants. Their stories are so interesting to me. And even in episode 2, Mrs. Bauer is getting handled over a gambling debt of $50, bro. $50, which I ended up looking up. It's like $3,000 these days. But they're getting paid cents. You know what I mean? And to even see like everything in the household, like Bannister off rip, you already know he don't like Mrs. Armstrong. Miss Armstrong already on that BS with Peggy, and Bannister had to tell her, hey ma'am, she's not sort of a secretary, she is the secretary. There's no sort of about it, which means in the hierarchy of this household, she is above you. So be grateful that she's also down here helping you cook and helping you get your stuff together, because she don't have to do this. And it's like, read her down. I just enjoy what they do and what they bring, and just seeing the servants, and I'm calling them servants right now. You all know I don't like calling them servants or the help. I like calling them aides. But in the spirit of kind of like season 1 and how they're being ignored so far, these households do not run without them. And I can't help but notice, like in the contrast with season 3 and that being my introduction to the Gilded Age, in these first 2 episodes, you don't see the heads of the house really communing or getting to know or being in the business of these people. Mrs. Bauer is out here on the street getting knocked around daily. And the only person to stop and try to figure out what's going on with her is Peggy. One thing a Black woman gonna do is be at the front of a cause. And Peggy is the reason anybody even knows what's going on with her. This is your people that show up to work every day, and you don't know that outside your front porch, she getting slapped around in the daylight? Like, that's crazy to me. And so to know that these people who pride themselves in their big hats and their corsets and their big gowns and their canes and their businesses and all these other things, is like, you wouldn't have none of this if it weren't for the people within the walls helming this up. And so even if we don't get like a side season, a limited series or something like that, y'all remember when The Incredibles 2 came out and there was this short called Bow? It was like 6-7 minutes. If we could just get a short, home box office Maximilian, if we could just get a short of like their lives, I mean, the short can literally be, you know, where's the dough? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, where's the dough? And it's like, they're trying to like bake a cake or some shit like that, or I don't know, make a pizza or something. And they've needed all of this stuff for this party. And now the dough has somehow gone missing from the refrigerator as it was working on being hardened, and there's no time to make a new batch of dough before the Russells host this dinner, so we need to find the dough. I don't know, it could be stupid as shit. Give us something just so we can see more of that interaction. I just think that what they bring to the show overall is incredible. But I'm gonna need Peggy and Marion to put their heads together and get to the bottom of this, because what y'all not gonna do is keep slapping Mrs. Bauer around. We don't do that. And Mr. Bannister seemed like he had like a criminal past before he became head of house. So I'm curious to see when he finds out how he's gonna take this information, because I don't know, something about Bannister is just giving like boss mode. Like, it seems like he was the boss, like the head honcho once upon a time in his life, and decided he was going to retire from that, but he still needs to boss people around. So he was going to be the head of the household, the head of the servants up in the man Rhine's house. Like, I don't know, I like his energy. I like him. That's gonna be my old man crush. I like Bannister, y'all. I like him officially. But yeah, this episode was a jam-packed 45 minutes. And one of the other big things that I walked away from this is that, again, I love Marion and Peggy's friendship. I love how race is not a factor in how they treat each other, in the way that they're honest with one another. And I love how Marion goes out of her way to try to assist Peggy with white people. Like, she's using her whiteness as an advocacy and as an avenue to get Peggy access to the things that she needs. And not necessarily because Peggy needs somebody white to get ahead, but she knows that if she goes to like any prominent Black lawyers and stuff like that, it's going to get back to her father. And right now, she's not on terms with him. So it's not even that Peggy doesn't have access to the things that she wants, but that Marion is utilizing their friendship to help her build and forge new relationships in this society. So Peggy is kind of working her way, not necessarily on purpose, I think this is pure accident, on having her foot in both worlds. And it's informing me about who she's going to be. Not necessarily the Peggy that I know and love in season 3, but this this relationship in the way that these things are kind of building is letting me know who Peggy is going to be in season 4. Like, my brain is working like, y'all know that gif with Zach Galifianakis and all like the math and stuff from like The Hangover. Like, my brain is doing that at every frame that I watch this season. And I'm looking for the parallels. I'm looking for the foundations of things. And I'm also looking for where cracks may have begun that led us to the things that we were there. Like Oscar immediately being in the Russell's face, contrasted with him actually working something out with Bertha at the end of season 3. And it makes me wonder if the Gilded Age, if they thought that maybe there wouldn't be a season 4, because there's so many parallel stories. Just in the first 2 episodes of season 1, I'm already seeing how things kind of got wrapped up and progressed in season 3 with very specific characters. Let's take Oscar and Mrs. Turner. Mrs. Turner clearly wants to sleep with George. I said it in season 1, episode 1. I clocked it. She wants to be Bertha. And so now that Oscar in season 3 kind of forged this relationship and this agreement with Bertha, and he also propositioned Mrs. Turner, I forget her widowed name, into being married, she's now going to benefit from this relationship as well, in a space where you could clearly see just from the first 2 episodes of season 1 that she's trying to replace Bertha Russell. So it's like stuff like that that makes me think, like, I wonder if they thought that this would be it, or if I'm just going to keep running into so many other nuggets across the rest of this season and in season 2. Either way, brilliant writing. And just parking on the writing and the storytelling, the whole of this show, right? And I've talked about this before. I think I was doing like a movie review where I talked about how in this particular movie, I could tell that the director and the cinematographer weren't seeing eye to eye, because I walked away from the movie and I didn't know what it was trying to tell me, right? And when you lack direction as a director, when you don't know where the story is going to go, it leaves room for the cinematographer to kind of like do what they think is best, for the editor to do what they think is best, and for the actors to just make the best choices that they think that they can make as they've done the backstory and did the work and the development off page before getting in front of the camera. With the Gilded Age, every person is telling the story. The production designer, the set decorator, the costume designer, the gaffer, craft services, the editor, the producer, the EPs, the actors, the writers, like everything. Even when there's no dialogue and it's just people moving across the screen, everything tells a story. Look at that person across the street. They're not just an extra. This is coming back. And I just love how whole the story of the Gilded Age is, and how you can just tell that everybody believes in the story. Everybody believes in the success. And these theater actors are out here giving us the business on screen. I know people were talking about like, oh, my favorite low stakes show just went to high stakes and stuff like that. But I would like to say that the themes of this show, from what I've seen so far, is not low stakes at all. Take Agnes getting on Marion's last goddamn nerves about trying to find somebody and, being rich. Again, money isn't everything is the title of this episode. Marion, even somebody else says it, and at the little tea party or whatever, and Marion was like, it is when you ain't got it. Like, the fuck? And Ada and Agnes end up having a conversation because Ada's like, girl, money ain't everything. Like, what is going on? You need to stop pushing Marion like this. And even Agnes being like, I just want her to have security. Agnes, to me, is the most mercurial character in this show. She is somebody who carries within like a 20-second frame, being witty, being snippy, being downright rude, and then openly vulnerable in like a single frame. And I use Christine Baranski's character as an example of like how it's not really low stakes. What we're finding and what is very clear in this episode is how much, as a woman, as the oldest, you have to shoulder to advance the family. A previous matriarch dies, it falls on you. Never the mind that when you were born, you were groomed to do that in the first place, to forego your happiness for the sake of the family. And so you see Agnes is someone who hides behind many things, but in her bedroom, in her nightgown, with her hair down, in the most vulnerable space that you can be at night and together with your own thoughts, you see that this is not low stakes at all. We're looking at a society where women can't have jobs. You can't leave a house without a man. Everybody refers to you by your husband's name. You are a nobody unless a penis is walking next to you. And yet, the leaders of society, the people who can make or break people, are the women. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's not low stakes, because in this year of 2025 and looking at the laws that's being reversed about women by men who don't know women, it's the same thing. And there's nothing low stakes about our bodies and us being like autonomous and fully ourselves potentially being taken away from us in 2025, 2026. There's nothing low stakes about that. We care about our health care. We care about not dying in these hospitals giving birth. We care about being able to get abortions. We care about being able to vote. We care about those things. That is important. And so in the 1800s of it all, it seems very shallow to say that this is a cutesy, low stakes, oh my God, all they had to do this episode worry about the type of tea that they were going to bring to the party. But no, we're looking at Bertha worried about being accepted, potentially falling on a sword and swallowing, being sniped by these mean girls in order to get ahead in there. We're looking at what it means to be an actual head of the household and not be like, oh, I'm a man, hear me roar, or whatever the fuck. Like, no, we're watching this man actually be a man and actually lead his household and put his wife as an equal next to him, knowing that he is a man, she is a woman. Society may not see them as the same, but in my house, in my kingdom, I am king, you are queen. I can't do what you do, you can't do what I do, but together we will lean on each other's strengths and we're going to rule all of this. There's nothing low stakes about that. And I love how those powerful themes and those powerful messages are interwoven in beautiful gowns, hella buttons, high hats, beautiful canes, the carriage rides. I love how this story is unfolding. I'm actually kind of jealous that I wasn't there with the rest of y'all all them years ago when the show first came out, because this is absolutely something I would have loved to just be on the timeline talking about it. But, you know, divine timing and everything, I would have never had a podcast back then, was not ready for none of that, or to even put myself in this space enough to be vulnerable to talk to y'all about these things, and not just have all of these thoughts in my head. So I guess, you know, it works out. And thanks y'all for bullying me into watching the season. No, it really wasn't bullying. At the end of season 3, I was like, I have to go back and watch season 1. I'm going to make time. Okay, I got so many things to look up, but thankfully, I work for me. As my friend so eloquently called it, I am a one-woman national publication. And I love that so much that I put it in my Instagram bio and my Twitter bio. But yeah, I work for me. I don't have to meet no deadlines for nobody. I answer to myself. But this is one of those things where um I'm going out of my way to make sure that I can continue to have this conversation and to go back in time with y'all, to rewind with y'all, and y'all rewind with me on this show that is absolutely, it's incredible. It's an incredible show. So there's that. Season 1, episode 2, Money Isn't Everything, of the Gilded Age. So like I said, this episode was such a jam-packed 45 minutes, but lines are clearly beginning to be drawn in the sand. Immediately, Mrs. Astor, while she tells her daughter, I don't think I'm gonna be going over their house, but I got my eye on them. They're not just new money thinking that they can move in and do anything like that. They actually have bite behind the roar that they are making. And so you really get to see she's impressed, and now the Russells are on the radar. We also get a little tidbit about Gladys. Everybody's wondering if Gladys is out in society, is she dating and stuff like that. And I think it was Mrs. Morris that said that she's not the type of girl to go out. She's the type of girl that a family peddles to the highest bidder. I'm not losing my mind about these parallels. I'm not losing my mind about these parallels. Like, this is the stuff that's being said in the first 2 episodes of season 1. And you look at the first 2 episodes of season 3, they are twins. They are twins. I'm going to keep saying it. It's so beautiful when writers go back and reference their own work for continuity. The continuity manager on the show, pay them everything, because that takes a level of attention to detail with reading these scripts and doing all this other stuff that, like, you need. And we've seen inconsistencies across major franchises. We've seen inconsistencies in shows. Hello, the final season of Game of Thrones. So it's like, to have that much attention to detail, chef's kiss. I already talked about the themes, but I want to settle in on the Russells again. I want to settle in on there, because season 3, okay, George is all like he's blaming Bertha for the ruin of their family. Basically saying she's too ambitious and her ambition is what's breaking them up. But you go out of your way to get her to schmooze so that you can get what you want. And I think that's the thing in me that I'm going to enjoy being angry at as I go through season 1 and season 2, is because I'm going to be pissed watching him use her and use her strengths to prop him up. Because when he began making bad business decisions, all of a sudden, everything is her fault. So when things piss me off, when things make me hyper emotional, even angry, if y'all watch my newsreader, I don't know if the newsreader fans are the same as the Gilded Age fans, but that whole last podcast episode, I was crying. But anything that evokes a lot of emotion in me, even if it's like anger or hate or whatever, just know that means I love it so much. Because anything that I don't like, I'm just indifferent to, and I'm just not going to talk about. So I'm going to love the torture that this season is going to put me through on seeing the highs and the heights of George and Bertha's relationship, knowing that he's not as solid in his ego as he portrays. But he was very, very sexy in this episode. I see Mrs. Turner. why you're doing what you're doing. But when Bertha finds out, it's gonna be a problem. And I'm just kind of looking forward to that. I really want to see a good soap opera slap though. Can y'all spoil it in the comments if somebody gets slapped? Like, I need more than barbs. Okay? Who's getting smacked? Because Mrs. Morris should have got slapped at that dinner table. Honestly, Bertha could slap hella people at the dinner table. Sarah and Mrs. Morris should have got slapped in this season and in this episode. Like, it's just not enough to just be flexing money. But yeah, I am in love. I thought going back to season 1 would be boring for me. I'm gonna be real, especially just seeing everybody being like, oh my God, it was so low stakes. Like, all they had to worry about was when was anybody gonna cross the street and what dresses they were gonna put on. And I was like, damn, that sounds boring as fuck. But I guess for me, having the knowledge of season 3 and watching season 1 and really looking at this as like a peeled onion versus like a whole of an onion, I really get to see a lot of the layers. And so now I feel like I'm investigating the season. I'm trying to go back in time and inform myself now with the history of it. So like y'all ever be watching like Snapped and you get like the story, you get like, oh, it was a warm summer night, July 4th, 1983, and everyone was sleeping until a call came into the 911 station and there was a bloodbath and all these other things. And then after they do that, it goes to commercial and it comes back and it goes, Caroline was born to 2 loving parents. Like, that's how I feel I'm watching this. It's like, oh my God, George and Bertha may not be together anymore. Why? Let's go back in time. So I definitely feel like I'm watching this with an investigative lens. And this is as somebody who's already like brain be investigating even in a current season. I'm always trying to figure out like what the plot twist is, what the thing is, what is the thing that's gonna gag, right? And so it's definitely very fun to feel like Inspector Gadget rewatching this. And so I see everything everywhere all at once, you know what I'm saying? And it's really fun. It's really fun. I'm having a fun time. I'm having a fun time. Um, and yeah, the last thing I'm gonna say about that is home box office. Give us a side story on the servants. Okay? I need. If I have to start the petition, y'all just let me know. I will start it. I will start it because I'm nosy and I really need to know what's going on. Oh, and I saw Jack this episode. He didn't have no lines. But this episode opened up with the camera clearly on him. He was fixing something in the house and he walked out of frame. And y'all know that's my boo. That's my babe. And I just look so forward to falling in love with him because he stole my heart immediately in season 3. I wanted to protect him from the moment I met him. That's my boo. I'm looking forward to falling in love with him. And with that, that's going to wrap up this review and recap of The Gilded Age. Season 1, episode 2, money isn't everything, even though it is. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments in the comments box below. As always, if you got people that only want to listen to me, go ahead and share that Spotify and the Apple Podcast link. You can also follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, where I drop other film and TV news and updates. You can also find me on TikTok, where I do short form reviews at Kivanshi. And as always, you can find me in the streets of Twitter at Kivanshi. And with that, I will catch y'all in the next episode.